Hello, Marist parents. My name is Drew Dudgeon, and I have the honor to teach your son or daughter in U.S. history for this year. I want to tell you a little bit about myself and kind of introduce you to the course for the 2020-2021 school year. First off, this is my 8th year as a teacher, my 2nd year here at Marist. I'm originally from Wisconsin, but my wife is a Marist grad, so that's kind of how I ended up on the south side of Chicago. As far as my teaching strategy for this year, obviously we are entering a school year in unprecedented times, but my goal is to find new and creative ways to engage with the students, to find ways for them to work together while staying separate, and to engage with the history in a new and innovative way. I look forward to doing it. I love U.S. history and I love teaching history, so let's get a look at the overall structure of this class. I like to think of the big ideas, the guiding principles of the course. So in this course, the overall purpose of the course, why we have it in our curriculum, this is, if I was going to boil it down to one sentence, this is how I would describe it. Defining the country we live in today, whether that's looking at race, wealth, foreign policy, politics, territory, economy, culture, etc., and tracing the major building blocks of our country back through history. To do that, we're going to look at 2 major essential questions. To what extent is the history of the United States a story of progress and advancement? And what has a larger impact on our lives today, the cumulative effects of historical events, or contemporary events that have happened during our lifetimes? To analyze those big ideas, we have 2 sets of skills. The first one I call global or transferable skills. These are skills that can be learned in a history classroom, but can be applied to any class or eventually, hopefully, to your future career. So the 5 skills I have are research, communication and writing and speaking, critical thinking, organization, and text comprehension. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going into these. There's a lot more sub-branches underneath each one, but those are the general outlines of them. The historical or social studies skills include define, describe, and summarize, compare, contrast, and corroborate, cause and effect, change and continuity, connections between past and present, analyzing documents, analyzing graphs, charts, and data, and analyzing maps. The overall look at our units for the year, the content that we're going to be covering, we're going to start with the American Revolution, the causes and effects of it. Next, we're going to go to the Constitution mini unit, which is mostly just a way to get them the basic understanding of the federal Constitution and a little bit of the Illinois state Constitution, and then take the state-mandated test that is required for graduation. Next, we'll do the expansion and sectional crisis, which is going to be expanding territory and leading up to the Civil War. Number 4 is the Civil War and its aftermath, the Reconstruction period. And then to wrap up semester 1, we'll talk about industrialization and the response to industrialization. In semester 2, we'll talk about imperialism and World War I. So America becoming a major world power. Next, in this unit, we're going to talk about race relations in the United States, specifically focusing on the experience of Black Americans between the years of Plessy versus Ferguson, the separate but equal Supreme Court ruling, to Tulsa, which is the Tulsa Race Massacre in 1921. This unit will explore race relations and the long-lasting impacts of it as a precursor to our eventual talks about the civil rights movement. In Unit 8, we'll talk about the Great Depression, the causes of, the effects of it, and the policies that were put into place to try to fix it. Next, we'll talk about World War II. How did it start? What happened during it? And what were the impacts of it? Afterwards, we'll talk about the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States. And finally, we'll have if we have time, overarching unit on modern developments in American society that go from the civil rights movement to the Reagan Revolution of the 1980s, to the booming economy of the 1990s, to 9/11, and hopefully even up until modern day. Quick, I just wanted to go over the course materials as well. The most important thing to get right away is the textbook called The Americans. I recommend to download the ebook from the Books app on your student's iPad. That is going to be something that we use right away and frequently, especially if we go to remote learning. The other course materials are pretty straightforward. Obviously, you need your iPad. Make sure it's in good working order. The screen isn't cracked. It's not broken, and that it's constantly updated. The Canvas. A lot of problems last year were because students weren't updating their iPad software. And make sure to charge it. Obviously, a notebook in class and something to write with will also be helpful, but a lot of the stuff we're going to do is going to be digital this year. Final two important pieces of information I have for you guys are about Canvas use. Canvas is incredibly important to this class. I upload everything that we do in this class to the modules section of Canvas. Again, the modules section will have everything. It'll be sorted by unit, and it'll be in chronological order. So it's very easy. It should be very easy once you get used to it to find what you're looking for. The second thing is, if students or parents need to get in contact with me at any time during the school year, the best way to do it is over my shoulder right here. dudgeon.drew @students.marist.net. I know it's kind of long. I like to keep my parent and student emails sorted into that email address instead of the main Marist email address, just because I get a lot of emails in that other one from a lot of teachers and administrators. So if you could use that one, that would be great. If you don't, I'll find a way to respond to you anyway. Don't worry about it. I hope this video was helpful and this information was helpful to get you guys going for the year. And I look forward to meeting your students and getting this year off to a good start.